Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. Happy 2021, Happy New Year to everybody. And I'm just up here at one of my bolt holes, my favourite bolt hole, which is a little beach up here at Port Stephens. Paul and I have just driven up for the day, just to check things out in the apartment, and we'll be heading back later on this evening. But I thought it'd be a good idea just to clock up a few Jim's 5am clubs, given that it's a peaceful time of the day. I'm not working, so I've got plenty of time to have a bit of a chit chat and walk along this beautiful, beautiful beach on this overcast day. But it doesn't matter, at least it's not raining. It could be worse, it could be raining, it could be hailing, it could be windy, but it's absolutely very, very pleasant, to tell you the truth. So I'll just go for a bit of a walk up the beach and we'll have a chat about a book summary. So the book summary that I want to have a chat to you about is an interesting book, but a book that nonetheless has some important lessons to each and every one of us. And the book is entitled Love Yourself as If Your Life Depends on It. So pretty interesting indeed. Love yourself as if your life depends on it. And it's written by an author. I haven't heard of this author before, but I'll keep my eye out for them to see if they've got any other material that I can also read about. His name is Kamal Ravikant. Kamal Ravikant is the author of this book. And he talks about the importance of taking some personal leadership and being the one who is fully accountable and fully responsible for your well-being and for your mental, physical, spiritual health. Because at the end of the day, you know, these are things that you can't outsource to other people. You can't outsource it to your parents, you can't outsource it to your grandparents, you most certainly can't outsource it to your siblings or wife or husband or children or grandchildren. It's something which we all need to understand, that at the end of the day, we need to be our greatest fan. Our greatest fan, because at the end, because we all have, you know, a life to live, and there are many, many years that make up a life. There are many hours, there are many weeks, there are many months, and along that path, you'll have lots of people coming in and out of your life. Some people leave well before they're due to leave. Other people pass away. Other people just lose interest. But what we must do, what we mustn't do ourselves, is to lose interest in ourselves and in our own lives. So the key message from this book is that you need to be diligent. You need to be, you need to show up, basically, time and time again, and be the person who loves yourself, who cares for yourself, more so than any other person. Because as we said, if you leave it to other people, you're going to be brutally disappointed. Unless you're very, very special and you've got a lot of people who want you to be happy and well. But even so, that in itself is not the answer, because having other people feed your happiness and being the basis of your happiness is also not all that fulfilling. So the author talks about the importance of being your own best friend and definitely not being your own worst enemy. So the author then goes on a bit of a journey and talks about light and darkness, which is an interesting sort of way of looking at life. But it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting, and I accept what he's saying, and I've taken it on board as something which is a good metaphor. Because he said, regardless of how much darkness we have in our life, in terms of problems, challenges, regardless of how dark it is, he says, at the end of the day, total darkness is broken with just a slither just a slither of light. And that light, as we said, can come from third parties, it can come from other people, but the best slither of light to come into your life is the one that you generate yourself. Through your relationship with God, through your relationship with yourself, and through your goodwill for your well-being, and taking your responsibility and accountability seriously for your mental, spiritual, and physical health. I'll turn around because there's a bit of wind blowing. So he says that at the end of the day we have all these mental loops going around and around in our heads, and they run through our heads throughout the day, and our thoughts, those positive, those negative, and we all know that most of the thoughts that go through most of the people's minds are negative. I think scientists have been able to prove that, but you can also prove it to yourself by keeping a journal of mental thoughts, where you can just trace your mental thoughts. So if you're on holidays, for example, or if you're at work, just have a piece of paper, and whenever you have a thought or something which pops into your head and distracts you, write it down. And you'll probably find that most of the time those thoughts are negative thoughts. They're worries about what happened yesterday, or anguish about what's going to happen tomorrow. But as the author says, these mental loops just keep on circulating in your head, but they also create emotions, and the emotions lead to more mental loops, which are more more powerful, until you get to the point where you're overwhelmed with whatever emotions that you're generating. And I repeat, the ones that you're generating, because as we said, each and every one of us are responsible and accountable and capable of managing the thoughts, fears, uncertainty and doubts which come into our heads, into our minds, and to try and make sure that the negativity doesn't become overwhelming, the darkness doesn't become total darkness. And the way you get around that is by providing light. And the smallest slither of light, as the author says, the smallest positivity or positive thought will change your whole outlook and will lift the darkness that is trying to control you. Because the author says, and he makes this very, very valid point, you need to control your mind. You need to control what's coming through your mind, the negativity, because if you're not controlling it, if you're not trying to control it, then it's going to be controlling you. And you don't want to be down in that boat or in that path. You want to be in full control of the things that you can control, and most certainly you can control your thoughts. It's your own mindset. So the author then says that we need to ask ourselves a question on a regular basis. If I love myself truly and deeply, would I let myself experience this negativity? There you go. You can ask that of your children, you can ask that of yourself, and you can just use that as a reflection on who you are and how you behave as a person. If you truly loved your children, if you love them truly and deeply, would you let themselves experience the negativity that you may be thrusting upon them or the people around you? Remembering that people can be their own worst enemies through their negativity, but also the people around them, the people who are supposed to love them, the people who are supposed to care for them, could also be the source of their anxiety, their disappointments and their pressure. So a simple book, a small book, love yourself as if your life depends on it. So hopefully we can take some lessons from this and use it in our everyday life, because we're responsible and accountable for our own welfare, our own happiness and our own health, mental health, spiritual health and physical health. But as parents, we're also responsible for their health. So just sit and think, try and reflect on what's going through your child's head, what they're experiencing, and don't be the source of the darkness. Don't be the source of the negativity. Don't be the source of their constant pain, is what the author's trying to get to. Help them learn how to manage their negativity by showing them how to look at the positive side of life. So over to you. You know, at the end of the day, the power is you, the power is in you, the power is in all of us, and let's teach our children how to be less negative, how to be less dark, and to provide slithers of light into their life, and slithers of light to be generating in our lives as well. Anyway, let's finish off with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and most importantly, let's take some lessons from this wonderful book and try and help ourselves by being our best and biggest and best fans, and to be as positive as what we can, and to curb and to strangle as much of that negativity, which takes up a lot of our mind space, but we can learn through journaling, through writing things down, what's troubling us, and we can work around it. Anyway, yassas, take care. From Jim on Jim's 5am Club, and I look forward to coming to you again tomorrow from another location with another message. Don't know where I'll be, don't know what I'll be talking about, but we'll get there and we'll use it to try and uplift us and get us through the morning, get us through the day, and get us through our challenging lives. Yassas, bye for now. Cheers.